I'd like to call the meeting to order. All votes tonight will be roll call votes. So can I have a motion to call the meeting to order and accept the agenda?
So moved, Tony.
Second by
Second.
Ms. Curran.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
Great. And for Ms. Canfield, Ms. Conley, and Ms. Curran, I can see you on the screen, so if you do want to speak, just kind of wave your hand a little bit. I'll make sure I call on you. To start this evening, we're going to have the report of the town administrator. Jim?
Sure. A few things we want to let people know. First, on the COVID-19 front, we had 3 additional antibodies yesterday, 2 additional cases today. So that brings my number up to 94 cases in the town of Situate. We haven't talked about the Life Care Center. They have tested all of their residents. The numbers from them today, 90 residents, they had 52 positive and 38 negative. The positive residents are on the A unit. The negative residents are on the B unit. They've been segregated. They did have a patient pass away last week. That patient had been hospitalized in early March, so they've been in the hospital for almost 2 months, but they did pass away last week, so they're reporting right now 2 COVID-related deaths, 1 last week and 1, if you remember, way back at the beginning of the pandemic, they reported another COVID-related death. So they are segregating, they are testing employees, and any resident who tested negative, who shows any symptoms, will be tested again, and if necessary, it will be moved over. We're not going to hit on the mask. I think we've talked about the mask enough. We're all wearing masks. People watching the meeting can see that we're wearing masks. But the governor has now issued guidance on the phases of reopening the economy. What this talks about is what a business will have to do when they reopen. He hasn't talked about what businesses will actually be able to open. So we don't know who's going to be able to open next week, what's going to be able to open next week. I would hazard a guess that I'm going to be pretty accurate that restaurants are not on that list that are going to be opening next week. I know some of us are really anxious that barbershops open next week. We'll see what they get for stores to open next week, but the 4 phases are the start, which are going to be limited openings with severe restrictions. Phase 2 is cautious. More openings allow the restrictions and capacity limits. Phase 3 is vigilant, which is still more loosening of requirements and additional openings. And then phase 4, he's calling the new normal, which will come along after the development of a vaccine or antibody. So, and any one of these phases could be rolled back if the numbers start to change again. He has said today, on a call that I was on with the Lieutenant Governor, that they're hoping that they will be able to give us guidance as to who is going to be able to open, what categories of businesses will be able to open next week, but we won't know those until we see them. So there will be some opening next week. We don't know what, we don't know how much, but it will be something. I know everybody's going to be happy for that. I think I can speak for the women in the office. The people in Situate have been fantastic, but I think the last couple of days, we're seeing that the quarantine and the stay-at-home order is really starting to wear on people. So being able to get out and do a little more opening is going to be fantastic. As part of that, the marina is going to open this weekend. The 15th is the opening of the marina. Steve has put out guidelines to all the boaters. We'll get a copy of those. We're going to post them on the website. Aside from what I've read that the governor sent out, all boaters on the docks, piers, or floats will be required to wear a mask when they're in the public spaces. We did our update on Thursday last week, and we talked about looking for guidance on the golf course. The minute we finished the recording, the governor opened the golf course, so we have open Widows Walk. There are no carts allowed. You have to social distance. You have to use your own clubs. Reservations and payments are made online. I think Ian told me over the weekend they had about $70,000 worth of rounds of golf played over the weekend. People renewing memberships and buying passes. So the golf course is open. We're getting there. We should have our new POS, point of sale system in hopefully by the end of the week, which will make that online reservation and payment system much easier. A couple other things. The election is June 13th from 9 to 2. We urge people to vote early by mail. There are 2 ways to do it: absentee ballot or early voting. The forms are available on the town's website under town clerk, or they're posted on the front door of the town hall. You can pick them up, return them, and we'll send a ballot out to you. We are asking as many residents as possible to vote early by mail as opposed to going into the polls. Town meeting's been postponed again from May 11th to June 8th. The moderator can postpone them in 30-day increments. I anticipate at this point the June 8th date will be postponed again, given guidelines that we're seeing on crowds. So we'll probably postpone it to the end of the month. We're hoping to have some sort of numbers from the state that we can make a reasonable judgment on a budget for fiscal '21. And some other towns I know are going to try to have their town meetings outside between now and then, which is going to be novel. A couple of places are having them at football fields. So that's something we'll look and see how they do. And maybe we could have the town meeting outside and provide enough social distancing for people to show up. Paving is ongoing. Man lot's been completely rebuilt and widened in some areas. The base coat is down. The base coat is down on First Parish. They're working on the sidewalk on First Parish. The base coat is also down on Oceanside, and Captain Pierce, I believe, is the other one that we did. Captain Pierce and Oceanside will get their final coat fairly shortly. First Parish, well, obviously is going to wait till the sidewalk is done. And Manlot, where it's a completely rebuilt road all the way down to the base, that will sit for a little bit longer to make sure we don't get any settling. And if it does settle in, the top coat will level it off. So we won't top coat Manlot until it's sat for a little while, probably a couple months, and then go back. A word to the wise, I've already spoken to the police department. The first complaint we get is that the roads are a mess and need to be paved. The first complaint we get after the road's been paved is that people are flying up and down the roads. So we will be doing directed enforcement on those newly paved roads, so people don't think it's just a speedway to slow them down. Finally, on the beaches, beach parking enforcement will commence on May 15th. Usually it starts June 1st, but we are concerned with the weather getting nice about crowds at the beaches. We want to maintain that social distancing. We are preparing, opening the beaches. We have the lifeguards ready to go. We have the porta potties ordered and ready to come in. We don't have any guidance as to whether they want us to have the porta potties used or not, but we have ordered them, and if they say you can't use them, then we'll end up locking them up and just leaving them down there. We've had some discussions about reducing the parking amounts at the parking lots in order to keep crowds down. We're ready to go on that. We're ready to go really with whatever the state gives us guidance for, but we're looking for a little more guidance as to what they want beach openings to look like, so that whatever we do, Marshfield's doing, Duxbury's doing, and all the other towns are doing, so that we're not pushing people back and forth between the towns to try to beat the crowds and beat the parking. So we are looking for a little bit of state guidance on that, but we had our call last week, and we will be ready to open the beaches, officially open the beaches, when we get the word from the state as to what they want us to do on those openings. So good news is some things are going to start opening up, but we really need to get guidance on beaches, libraries, things that towns have in common to make sure that we're all doing the same thing and opening at the same time to keep those crowds of people from going back and forth from town to town. So that's what I have for today.
Wait, Sean?
Two things, Jim. I just think it's important that you just let residents know, those roads that you have base coats on, after they put, bless you, after they put the base coat down, they raise the castings, the drainage, gas shutoffs, water shutoffs, and they spray paint them orange. So folks could just kind of avoid those roads, because new cars now have, the sidewall in their tires are real low, and you'll do damage, you'll ruin rims, you'll ruin tires. If you can avoid those roads until they're completely done, you're really better off. Otherwise, you need to go down the road like this to avoid
I'll
those.
drive slowly.
Exactly, both, all of the above. And on the parking lots, Jim, let's say it's June, end of June, and you have a real hot day. Parking lots, people, Tony and I, we pull up beside each other, we're there at the same time. I just wait for his family to get out, to go, I'd hate to start limiting the spots on the beach if it's a hot day. People, I think, will do the right thing, and once you get out of your car, we're this far away, you're okay. And then you get on the beach and you just try to scatter.
Yeah, it's not,
So I'd hate to.
we're not looking to do spot by spot, because we don't actually have the equipment to block individual spots. We would block a portion of the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's just, if the parking lots are full, the beaches would be so crowded, you wouldn't be able to social distance.
Well,
But just,
yeah.
Sean, there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of different variables going on in this.
Yep.
I know the city council in Quincy, the story was in the paper last week. The state closed Quincy Shore Drive's parking. All it did is make everybody park in the neighborhoods
Yeah.
and walk down to the beach. The
Yeah.
beach is no less
Yeah.
crowded than it used to be. So, we have that we're talking about. And then the other issue is, okay, who's actually gonna go on the beach and say, you're too close together, people, you have to move. I know one of the Cape beaches is talking about no chairs, no coolers, just a blanket and yourself. You can't kind of go out and camp out there, for lack of a better term.
Right, try to,
You know, Mara Glancy, she talked about, well, will we have some sort of attendant at the beach? And I said, so you're gonna have an 18-year-old kid standing there saying to me,
yeah.
you can't bring the cooler, you can't bring the chair, and I'm gonna say, you know, get out of my way, kid, it's the beach, I'm going to the beach. So, we've had a couple of conversations with the police department, with recreation. That's gonna be the big question, is how in God's name are we gonna do some of this enforcement on the beach when, you know, people are getting too close together and people are,
Right, it just,
so it's a,
you've thought about it, I
it's an
just,
evolving paradigm.
good,
Yeah.
thanks, Tony.
Yeah. Any questions from the remote select people? Karen, Conley?
Jim, at our last meeting, we had some correspondence from Deputy Fire Chief Al Elliott about the situation down at Go Green. And I noticed that there was yet another fire there last Saturday night. It's of great concern to a lot of people. And I was wondering if you've got anything to tell us about the situation down there.
So a couple things, we met down there today, myself, Karen Canfield came down, Chief Murphy, Deputy Chief Thompson, and Kevin Caffrey, the DPW director. I think in the immediate term, in terms of the fire, and Chief Murphy can correct me if I'm wrong, the fire hazards are mostly caused by the non-processed debris that's down there, the sticks, the logs, things like that. As they decompose, that causes heat, and then when you have a wind like we had the other night, that obviously fans the heat and causes it to burst into flames. He had the grinder down there today, he had a loader down there today, a lot of equipment down there today. He has told Chief Murphy that he will have all the material ground by the end of the week. So once it's ground, the fire hazard goes down significantly. So that's the number one worry, and I think, Chief, unless I'm wrong, we will have that at least under control in the short term.
Yeah, I did mention that after you left, but that's important to get that done Friday, so you can't have another fire.
He had spoken to us today about a plan that he is going to put together to come into compliance with the fire regulations, clean up the property, make it available. Under our lease, we have to give him notice. He gets 30 days to cure. We have told him we need to have that plan by the end of the week. It will have to be reviewed by the board, and then once the board approves the plan, he then has 30 days to come into compliance. Otherwise, the board can hold a hearing and revoke his lease. Karen and I both told him in no uncertain terms, if we agree to this plan and he starts down this road, there will be no more, oh, okay, you know, we understand. It will be you come into compliance, or at least make substantial progress as decided by myself and that team that was there today, or we will be coming to the Board of Selectmen, and the next vote the board will take will be to revoke the lease.
All right, thank you.
Any other, Ms. Canfield, or no? Okay. The only comment I'll have is I agree with Sean's comment on the beach parking. I think we kind of want people on the beach because that's our biggest open space, but someone's going to have to, if people are wise and social distance and pay attention to all the restrictions that are in place, then I think it's a great place to be. If they can't do that, then we'll have to take steps and you know, monitor that more closely. But
Yeah,
I have confidence that citizens are taking it seriously and that they'll be able to, you know, self-monitor themselves on the beach. So I'm hoping that's the path we can start with. Ms. Canfield?
I just, I was going to report this in liaison reports, but it's pertinent to the conversation. The Beach Commission is scheduling a meeting shortly to begin a conversation with their partners at the Recreation and, of course, with the Board of Health to see if there are, you know, maybe visuals or, you know, things that can help enhance the adherence of social distancing this summer to get ahead of that and not be reactive if people don't behave. So there's my liaison report early.
We have ordered signs, social distancing signs. Recreation has, those will be posted at every entrance to every single beach.
Great.
So it's already in the works, and I know Mara's on top of that, so.
Okay. Ms. Curran?
Right, I know she is.
Tony, I do have a question though. On a lot of our beaches, the lifeguards only man certain yardage, if you will, like certain spaces, areas of it. What are we going to do about those areas where the lifeguards don't typically oversee?
The areas that we typically don't oversee, either it's because we don't have any parking there, or because it's a private section of beach. So.
Well, no, like, so Egypt Beach, right, they only patrol a certain portion of it, yet 3/4 of the people sit down to the left, and there's no oversight. I think it's just something that we might have to speak to Maura and the guards about.
You notice that the lifeguards normally hang out together on the beach. They won't be able to do that this year. They're gonna have to social distance, as those lifeguards are gonna have to spread out on the beach, but it's something we can talk to her about.
The only comment I would add is that really just pertains to swimming. So I think if you're gonna swim, you're gonna have to swim in the allotted area that's lifeguarded, but, sitting on the beach is a little bit different. But rec can pull something.
It's gonna be a difficult beach year. We are going to have a lot of complaints coming in about people sitting too close to me, people not social distancing. When you get down in Hammerock, a lot of Hammerock is private beach. The police, I think, are gonna get a lot of calls of, there's people on my beach, they won't leave. And then, looking at another month down the road, you're gonna come into the 3rd and 4th of July. Where are we gonna be in social distancing? Where are we gonna be in groups? What are you gonna do if someone wants to have a bunch of people over to their beach house? I had these conversations with Mark Thompson and Allison Stevenman the other day, and we don't have the answers yet.
Right, yeah.
I said to Mark, the last 2 months, I've said, I don't know more than I have in my entire career as a town administrator. We don't have the answers and the guidance yet, and it's going to be evolving. We will have a conversation with the board shortly about what we want to do with Hammerock for the 3rd and 4th of July. And we might recommend that Hammerock be shut down again, even though we opened it up a little bit last year, just to control the amount of people that go there. But these are all,
1 week at a time.
yeah, we're having these conversations on a weekly basis, and they're accelerating. We're really hoping the state comes out with some good, clear guidelines that everybody can use across the spectrum, so that one town's beaches are not more accessible than another town's beaches, and people start amoebaing back and forth from town to town based upon openings and closings.
Great, thanks. Okay, let's move on to our first discussion and vote, which is a donation to the Situate Fire Department for a boat fire pump. Chief Murphy is here.
Good evening. So this is following up on the meeting in March. We had a number that we had to try to reach to get the funding for the fire pump that we want to get. That would be a much improved pump, diesel driven. And these are the numbers these are people that have made donations. As you see, most of the people on this list, most of the companies are water related. They actually see the benefit and the importance of this type of pump. And the personal marinas can also benefit if we had a fire there. So these are the people that have, the businesses that have made donations to get us to where we need to be to purchase.
Excuse me
the pump.
1 second, John, I didn't mean to interrupt, but this was just sent to us right before the meeting tonight, so you have a paper copy.
Thank
I
you.
see you looking for it on your computer.
Sorry about that. I actually thought it was me.
So Chief, did you reach the amount that you needed?
Yes, we did.
And that is $32,484?
Right.
Great. Do you want me to read off the names? I can,
Sure, if you'd like to get a microphone there.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
so these are some very generous donations that came in for helping us fund the pump that the chief thinks is better going to serve the community. So Columbia Gas, Petrocelli Insurance, Mike Lynn, EMPGA Grant, Situate Harbor Marina, Road Marine, Middle Wharf Marina, Herring River Marine, I think, Situate Maritime Center Foundation, National Grid, and from Situate Boat Works. So all very, very generous donations, and again, Chief came before us maybe a month ago and just felt that this was the better pump for the situation that we need in the harbor, or potentially could help us better, so.
It did take some time. You know, I wish I knew what all these, I do now back when we were trying to put the boat out to bid, but we knew I knew what we needed in the pump, what we needed to put out the spiders, but there's so many variables and different costs, so I just came up with the best cost-effective, safest, and most effective pump at the time.
Great. I'll start with the remote select people. Any questions for Chief or about the pump for the town administrator? Just wave. I don't see
Nope,
any.
just thank you. Great job, Chief. Thank you.
Sean, do you have any questions?
No, not yet.
Great. Ms. Canfield?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's just wonderful how generous, and not surprising how generous the businesses and distributors are to this. And, it's great that we'll be able to provide the best public safety that we can in the harbor. But I would just want the board to, in future, be very cautious about relying on donations to fund necessary public safety things. That I'm a little uncomfortable with having to be in this position, but thrilled that we can go forward and we have such generous people in the community. But I was a little. It would have been unfortunate if we had fallen short. So thank you, Joan, for getting that organized. But
Karen, the boat would have been, the boat would have been fully equipped. Without the donations, it had a pump on it. It is just in the course of, since we ordered the boat and funded it, and continuing conversation with other fire departments that have a marine unit, it was decided that an upgraded, for lack of a better term, pump that used diesel instead of gasoline would be an improvement and would be more useful and have more uses. So that is what these donations are doing. They're upgrading the pump. They're not providing a pump, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think.
I appreciate that, and we had that conversation last time. Chief Murphy came in with donations. So it's just, I just want to be mindful going forward, not to take away from the hard work that went to get this put together.
Yeah, I think that's a very poignant point, and I think had we known back then we would have asked for the additional funding then, and I think Ms. Canfield's point is we don't like to have to rely on donations to get the product that we need for the town, so I couldn't agree more.
Before you move on, not to put Chief Murphy on the spot, but I forget the exact date, at the Waterways meeting last week, where are we just about a month behind taking delivery, Chief?
Without this, so now that they're not gonna have to do this, he's gonna do basically exhaust, water intakes, fuel lines and all that. So we were gonna build sort of a cabin, you build it in a cabin. We're not gonna do that now. We're gonna surface mount this on the deck. He's gonna build us a cover for it.
Okay.
Which is fine. It's not a very high pump. It's gonna end up looking like a workbench.
Yep. No, just like one would Situate
Well,
expect
I'm
to
hoping to
see.
still see it by July 1st.
Okay.
That's the goal. They said they have to spread their workers out as well. So he said they're running behind, but he's not giving us a timeline yet. He's just saying to move forward as best they can. And taking some of this, which he doesn't do a lot of this type of work, to bring it down here where we could have Situate Boat Works and understand things like that. We're not going to be precedent, which is a lot more work. So we're shooting for July 1st and have this converted over to the two and everything. So that's our goal, John. But we're sort of relying on, you can't give me a date yet.
Okay, thanks.
But originally it was mid-June, and it's at least a couple of weeks behind, so.
Great, did you, good. Can I have a motion to accept this agenda? Sean, maybe?
I don't have the suggested.
Does anyone have the suggested motion?
Tony, I can do it.
Great.
This is, move that the Board of Selectmen accept a donation totaling $32,484 from several marine-related businesses to the Situate Fire Department towards the purchase of a fire pump, diesel-powered engine, and associated installation costs.
Second by
Second?
Mr. Harris. All in favor? We'll do a roll call.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes,
And Ms. Curran?
yes.
Excuse me, I just need to clarify the amount,
Okay.
because it's different on the sheet than it was in the motion, so,
The totals that was there, I'm sorry, is 32,000, but what I'm requesting at this selectors meeting is the 19,884.
okay,
Those are two seconds.
so can we read that?
Oh, so not the amount in his Word document?
No.
Sorry.
No,
So,
that's fine.
The
We-
second round of donations in the bottom is what we're doing tonight.
Okay, thank you, Lorraine. So can I have a motion, I'd like to make a motion to change the dollar amount of the previous motion from 32,484 to 19,884. Sean?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. Further discussion? Before we vote on this, is there anyone on the line that had any comments on this?
We'd have to go into Q&A. Would you like to?
Yes, could you go into Q&A?
Yep.
Q&A session has started.
Can they hear us, or how would we know?
Yep, they can hear us. We might want to remind them that they hit *61 to raise their hand.
Okay, if you're on the line and can hear me, hit *61 to raise your hand. And do you have any comments on the donation for the fire pump? Seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? We'll do a roll call.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield? Ms. Canfield?
Q&A session is over.
I think I had to stop that.
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
So that's unanimous, 5-0. Thanks for coming in, Chief. The second topic of discussion this evening is for an event called Plant Situate from the Beautification Commission. Do we have someone on the line for that?
We do.
Yep, I'm here. I'm here.
Can you just give your name and address?
Yes, this is Sietske Humphrey. I am one of the commissioners of the Beautification Commission, and my address is 8 Lads Way.
Great. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your project.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting us to your virtual meeting. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate the fact that we can let you know a little bit about the programs that we are doing in a slightly different way. We have been using particularly email to contact as many people about the different programs that we have as possible. Our Commissioner, Mary Tanara, has contacted with, in compliance with the Board of Health regulations, 50 of the Adopt-A-Lot volunteers, and all 50 did want to participate. It was a choice, and are very happy to do, again, the maintenance of their lots, and doing that while complying with the Board of Health, and also being very careful with the way they pick up plants. And there are lots of materials that have been generated to help all of the volunteers. The Commission had a lot of discussion about the plight of our merchants and whether they may be too overwhelmed to participate in our merchant program, where we give vouchers to the merchants so that they can plant flowers in their flower boxes. And we decided that it was better to give them a choice than to just say that we're not going to do it. And we are very excited that our president, Marianne Palaiko, and Leslie Dinell, who is our financial person, have been going through all of the email addresses and matching them up with the owners, and are able to send letters to every merchant to see if they are interested in participating so that we can send them their individual vouchers, and each voucher has to be numbered because it's not so that we can keep track of the finances. And we are also very excited that merchants have already been contacting us that they want to participate. So we're very excited about that. And then this Saturday, the 16th, we are kicking off the second year of our Plant Situate program, where we are asking people to plant marigolds in as many places as they can. And again, this time, we were not able to go and visit merchants and community groups, and so we have an article in the Mariner, in our local newspaper. We have in the public schools backpack flyers for each of the kids, and we have also contacted all the religious organizations in town, as well as posting on Facebook for everybody to contact as many people as possible. And again, we just want to celebrate the uniqueness of our town. We think it's amazing how everybody has been pulling together, and just because we always think about color, green, the more green we can get, green stands for resilience, health, and good fortune. So put some green in there as well. But it is a very different approach from what we've had.
Great. Thank you very much for having this event. And again, on the 16th, we're looking for citizens to plant marigolds.
Or to start planting. You can plant them the whole summer through.
Okay. Great. I'm going to open it up to the remote select people. Any questions or comments? How about you, Sean? Karen Canfield, Ms. Canfield?
I just want to say that it's awesome that you're doing it again, and it's great because now Sean knows what a marigold is.
Well, you know, Sean was our Mr. Marigold, right, last year?
They're always picking on you, Sean. Yeah, right. All right, Ms. Curran?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Siska too. I know it's been a lot of work overcoming the cancellation of Ship Shape Day as well. So, you know, and thank you so much for your cooperation with that. And we'll work together to put that back on the calendar as soon as we work through some of these reopening procedures that we're going through now. So I just want
that's great.
But thank you. Yeah, we won't cancel it altogether. We certainly know it needs to take place.
Yes, it does.
Great.
Thank you.
Sean, any?
No, I was just going to thank her and the entire commission for all they do, and I will definitely be planting marigolds again.
They look great.
Purple? All right, okay, thank you, Tony. Thanks for clarifying that.
Great. Okay, can I have a motion? Oh, no, you don't have a motion on this.
No.
Great. Thank you very much for the update, and stay healthy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Are there any comments? Maybe we should open up to Q&A. I'm sorry.
Good night.
Okay, we can open up.
Q&A session has started.
Was there anyone that had comments on the Beautification Commission item? Hit star 61 if you do. We don't see any, so we'll move along. Did anyone else have a
Q&A
comment?
session is over.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic, which is the Memorial Day observation or observance update. Is Don on the line?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Don, how are you?
Good evening. This is Don Knapp, Director of Veteran Services. Going to give a quick update on the Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony. So, under the current state of emergency order of Massachusetts put in place by Governor Baker, the Situate Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony has been canceled for 2020. This decision was made by the town administration in order to keep in compliance with the state of emergency and for the safety of the town residents. To honor our veterans' sacrifices and service to this great nation, the Veterans Service Department, the Veterans Advisory Council, the Grounds Department will be placing a flag on every Situate veteran's grave, memorials, bridges, in the town common, with help from volunteers from the police, the fire department. This will be done following the strict social distancing guidances.
Great.
So, so unfortunately, this year everyone understands the circumstances, but we're going to make sure that, again, that we honor our veterans as best we can.
Thank you, Don. Any questions from the remote select persons? Ms. Curran?
Yes, Don, what about the laying of the wreath at sea? Will that take place?
So, so we have canceled every event like that. That one there, again, it's run by the Legion and the VFW. I don't believe that they're going to do that. That was never discussed to do. It's something we could do. It's not too late to do something like that if they are inclined and want to do that. Again, though, we'd have to talk with the harbor master and obviously Chief Murph always steps up with us too there. But I could talk to those organizations, see if that's something that they want to do. Again, they would have to follow that guidance, and I believe on that. I don't believe we have 10. Normally 10 people going out on that vessel, so that could be something that could be discussed there and try to put together before then.
Yeah, that would be nice if we can figure out how to do that.
I will make some phone calls tomorrow and see if that's something again that they would like to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can ask them. Let's just take into consideration that most of the people that go on that are seniors and maybe in the higher risk category for for social events. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Don, if you can get back to us on that, that'd be great. That's always a great event to go to.
I will.
Maybe we could get more boats. I know last year, I think Maura and Karen went, and I think we had 3 or 4 boats out there. So, Ms. Conley?
Yeah, is there any thought given to asking all the churches in town to ring their bells at a particular time and ask everyone in town to have a moment of silence or something like that, so that it's not a crowd gathering, but that it's some sort of a recognition?
Don?
I love that idea.
Yeah, we can make those calls. Again, we discussed. I try to discuss this with the Veterans Advisory Council. We're all trying to put our heads together too to make it as best we can. So yeah, again, we can make that phone call too. We have that time, and that's something we could probably get in place.
Great, Ms. Canfield.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Canfield.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Because we haven't had a opportunity to talk with Don, but later in the agenda we're talking about the EDC's efforts, and one thing that has been discussed is when does it launch, and I know that Kim Stewart, who's the chair of our Veteran Advisory, has spoken with Don, and there are a number of ideas that are being kicked around to enhance the honoring of veterans. So, rest assured, I know that Don and Kim are working really hard to try to come up with if it's a virtual salute or whatever it is. So, stay tuned for more of that. But it is definitely something that many people have been discussing, and I know Don's leading the charge on that.
Great. Sean, any questions?
Just what day of the week, Dawn? Was it Friday, Saturday? When are you gonna put the flags on the cemeteries?
So I had a phone conversation with Kim this afternoon because she's spearheading the volunteers and she knows their schedule. I let her go ahead and decide which day they want to do it so they have the most volunteers that would be beneficial, and then also have a rain date because I let her know that doing this for 9 years that unfortunately Mother Nature sometimes doesn't cooperate with us. So she's going to go ahead and talk to them all and just see what the best date is. Most likely we're looking at the Saturday before, and at worst case scenario, the Saturday of, in the morning at like around 9 o'clock meeting, and then going out and doing this. The grounds crew, I've already stopped by Cudworth, talked to Rich. Franny was there too, fortunately, and they were already making prep over there, and we talked about a game plan to have the town looking pristine for by the time Memorial Day gets there, and all the flags are ordered. I let them know where those are, and so they're going to be taking care of Cudworth and Union and the Common, and of course all the memorial signs. So as I said, so we have a pretty good game plan in place to get this done well in advance of Memorial Day.
Thank you.
Great. Any further questions for Don? Well, Don, we're all very sad that we're canceling the parade, but certainly it makes sense, and anything that we can do to celebrate, our veterans is great. So you have our support in terms of the events that you come up with. And I'm sure some of us will help you put flags out too.
Well, thank you.
Let's just open it up to Q&A and see if there's anyone.
Q&A session has started.
Just if you want to participate in the conversation on the Memorial Day Parade, hit star 61. There are none there. Don, thanks for joining us. We can end Q&A.
Q&A session is over.
Great. The next topic of discussion is a discussion and a vote for a bond anticipation note for various projects in the amount of $12.5 million. Nancy's going to be doing that. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you very much for having this on your agenda tonight. The town sold a bond anticipation note on April 29th for $12,510,000. I was before the board probably 2 meetings ago telling you that we needed to issue debt and issue this bond anticipation note, but we were unsure if we would be able to sell in the marketplace because the marketplace was not friendly to municipal debt. We did have him and myself had a phone call with our financial advisors. They recommended that we issue a note of not less than 6 months. This is a 6.5 month note, and that we do it immediately as soon as we could go to market, because they were seeing some relief in the marketplace and they weren't sure where it was going to go. So that's exactly what we did. We had a Standard & Poor's conference call on April 22nd. Results of that are posted in the finance area of our website, our latest rating. They upheld the town's long-term rating of a AA+, which is the second highest, and we got the highest rating for short-term borrowing, which is an SP1+. The makeup of this particular bond anticipation note is about $3.58 million for the high school field complex, $7 million for the senior center and recreation, the Veterans Memorial Gym accessibility improvements, $200,000 for the Cedar Point I&I project, $430,000 for the new Vessel 3, which is the one that you were talking to the chief about 10 minutes ago, and $300,000, which would be for foreshore protection, which would be the town's share of the $1 million repair project that's FEMA subsidized for Egypt Beach Berm, which was supposed to be before you 2 weeks ago, and probably will be before you for a contract award at your next meeting. It's currently just has an issue that's being decided on it. The bond anticipation note was very fortunate. There were 4 full offer bidders on it. The coupon rate was 1.5% with the premium of $50,000. It brought the net interest cost to the town to 0.7746%. In comparison, the November $9 million ban, which was a 1-year ban that we issued a few months ago, its coupon was a 1.75 and its net interest cost was a 1.18. So the rates did go down, which is beneficial to us, and that particular issue had 6 people bidding on it. So we would ask that if the board sees it in their wisdom, that they do award this bond anticipation note to the winning bidder, which was TD Securities.
Thank you, Nancy. Any questions from the remote select people? None?
No,
Ms.
just
Curran?
thank you, Nancy. Yeah, just thank you, and reading through the backup information, I think it's important for residents to know all the nice compliments that the bonding agency gave to the town for its fiscal management policies that you and Jim and your team and Pam, everyone managed. So thank you to all.
Great. Sean, anything?
No, other than thank you as well.
Great, Nancy. And those rates are annual rates, right? 0.7?
Yes.
Right. Just unbelievable rates. Great timing. Good. So can I have a motion to,
Can I just ask a question? On the motion, Nancy, should it say to whom the company is, TD Securities? Because on the motion, it doesn't say it, or can we just leave it as?
If we're gonna read in that, vote of the Board of Selectmen, and it does include the language in it. So the wonderful thing that Karen has to read.
Okay.
All right, Karen.
If you want to amend that motion to include TD Securities, that's fine.
All right, and then Karen has to read it?
Yeah, she don't have to read
The clerk?
the lovely page and a half.
Okay, all right, it follows. On a motion?
I didn't quite hear Nancy. Do I have to amend this in any way?
You don't.
No.
So,
Okay.
Karen reads it first before the motion, right? Or that is the motion?
Karen reads the vote and then you vote on
Okay. Karen, do you mind reading that?
I'd be delighted to read this, Mr. Chair. Ready?
I'll be leaving.
I, the clerk of the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Situate, Massachusetts, certify that at a meeting of the board held May 12, 2020, of which meeting all board members of the board were duly notified and of which a quorum was present, the following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted to approve the sale of a $12,510,000 1.5% general obligation bond anticipation note, known as the notes of the town, dated May 21, 2020, and payable December 11th, 2020, to TD Securities USA Limited Partnership at par and accrued interest, plus a premium of $50,415.30. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and sales of the notes for preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated April 22nd, 2020, and the official statement dated April 29th, 2020, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the town treasurer and the Board of Selectmen be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a significant events disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by references in the notes for the benefit of the holders of the notes from time to time. Further voted, we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and bond counsel deems sufficient, as if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the notes and to comply with relevant security laws. Further voted that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, and other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda of the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the town clerk and hereby and copies thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or out of the municipal building, that the office of the town clerk is located, or if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General and set forth in 94 CFR 29.03(2)(b) at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting and remain so posted at the time of the meeting that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sales of the notes were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, as amended, further suspended, supplemented, or modified by the executive order of the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, suspending certain provisions of Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, dated March 12, 2020.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to Q&A before we make this motion.
Q&A session has started.
If anyone has any comments on the motion for the short-term ban borrowing, now's the time. Push star 61. Okay, so we'll end the Q&A.
Q&A session is over.
And then if I could have a motion?
Vote to approve the sale of general obligation bond anticipation note in the amount of $12,510,000.
Second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Curran. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
So that's unanimous, 5-0. Nancy, thank you, and thank you, Pam, for us as well. Moving on to
Great
the
job,
next
you guys.
topic is a presentation from the Economic Development Commission and the committee to the Commission and Committee reopening plan. Sue DePisa is presenting. Sue, are you on the line?
If she is, I don't know her number.
I'll tell you.
Just last four.
The last four?
The last four is 8784.
Sue, can you hear us?
Sue, are you there?
Yes. Okay.
Hi, Sue.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Is there anyone else from your committee on the line? I know Karen Canfield has been going. Is there anyone else that you'll be presenting with?
I'm not aware of anyone else, Tony.
Okay.
I think there are a few commission members listening, but don't expect to participate.
Great. So we'll turn it over to you then.
Okay, so I'm Sue DePisa. I'm chair of the EDC Commission, where, as you know, our mission is to improve the town's overall economic health by enhancing existing businesses in the community and encourage new ventures to grow and diversify the tax base. A very tall order these days. But with the current situation, EDC determined the need to sharpen our focus on the current businesses in every business district in Situate to help them as we all ease back into life very carefully. We recognize that we were in the position to rally support from many other boards and committees and organizations quickly, and I'm happy to say that we've had an impressive group of volunteers who stepped up to get this initiative off the ground. We've identified real needs, and along the way, we've seen opportunities to enhance some of the work that the town and EDC already have in place, which is great. The committee, the mission of this committee is to support the local economy by developing a comprehensive community reentry plan in concert with public health and safety protocols. So you have the proposal in front of you, I believe, for what we're calling Situate Loves Local initiative, with details that are forming very quickly. Some of the actions have been taken since you received the packet last week, and some have been revised since you received your packet. The committee meets 3 days per week for about 2 hours each time, so we can get this thing right from the start. I won't go over every detail unless you want me to, but I will highlight the 5 subject committees that we're focused on, which are safety, business, marketing and communication, event planning, and marine. Each group is focusing on vetting ideas and initiatives in their subject area, and will coordinate with the committee to support the final plan. All proposals will be reviewed and approved by the Board of Health, Town Administrator, and the Board of Selectmen before any implementation. Following this meeting, and presuming we get approval from you, then all the town boards and committees will be contacted by tomorrow to see how they can contribute to developing and to the plans of each phase. I feel that we really never had a greater opportunity to unite everyone in the same mission. This is community building at its finest, I think. We need local businesses to survive, and local businesses need us to help them survive. And the EDC mission really couldn't align better with this effort. So as you all know, C Situate is the branding that's been established for the town and used on many marketing materials for the past couple of years. Our intention is to piggyback on that brand and have this initiative linked to that branding. We have a C Situate webpage already existing that will act as the landing page for everything C Situate Loves Local. We'll also link other organizations in town so that businesses and residents will have access to all current information and resources. We plan to utilize, with the help of some very talented residents, I might add, a social media platform, Facebook and Instagram, etc. We'll be sending out business surveys immediately to get as much info as we can, so we can about the businesses in Situate, so we can feature them on the C Situate page and on the social media aspect. As you can see, our plans for getting out of the gate include some upfront costs, and we completely understand that the budgets are unknown at this moment, and conserving is vital for the town. We're hoping that we can access the EDC budget, which currently has a balance of approximately $25,000. We feel that by investing in this campaign, we're serving the exact purpose of our mission while stimulating local spending and improving revenue receipts for the town. We plan to make our purchases as much as we can from Situate-owned businesses. The Situate Chamber of Commerce has agreed to create an account to accept and disperse funds should we get into a fundraising campaign. The Chamber has also stepped up with a donation along with the Harbor Merchants and the North Situate Beach Business Association. These organizations are very excited about the campaign and are engaged in all aspects of planning and execution. We estimate the startup cost to be around $5,000. The Chamber, the Harbor Merchants, and the North Situate Business Association have already stepped up to contribute funds to the cause. So if we do our jobs right, then the $5,000 will be replenished. Tonight, we're requesting that the town authorize $5,000 from the EDC remaining 2020 budget to be allocated to the Situate Loves Local campaign.
Great. I'm going to let Ms. Canfield talk first because she's been probably the most involved of us. Karen?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to commend Sue and the Economic Development Committee for just jumping in feet first to really try to wrap their arms around something that will not only support our local economy and our businesses, but the community at large. And you received the list of committee members, and you'll see that it ranges everything from members of the EDC, but also all of the merchant and business groups, as well as community leaders in education and the marina and many other ways. And it's all by itself has brought together conversations that will really enhance the town long run. The only thing I would add to Sue, who did a great job summarizing, is that the request for $5,000, we already know that the Chamber of Commerce has committed $1,500. We're waiting for confirmation from the other two groups who have pledged funds, but we don't know the balance. So that $5,000 will be reduced by the contributions from the merchant associations. and we think is sufficient to provide the launch printed materials that we'll want to make sure to make a big splash, like yard signs and banners and that sort of thing. Want those all in place. So the amount taken from EDC will be the net of any contribution from the merchants groups.
Sue, can you confirm that?
Yes, that is the case. That is the case.
Great. So I'll open it up to the other board members. Any remote Karen or Maura? Just raise your, actually I can't even see Karen right now, so.
You see me now? Tony?
Go ahead. Yep, now I can.
Okay. Yeah, I was lucky enough to be asked by Karen Canfield, who's very persuasive, to participate in some of the meetings that they've been having. And it's very heartwarming to see this really, really good group of people meeting under these types of circumstances to keep things moving along. And the enthusiasm is terrific. And I think it's a real opportunity for us to really come together as a community and, relaunch, if you will, see Situate. We don't want people to come to Situate right now, I guess, because there's not a lot of room, but, once we're over this phase of everybody stays apart, then we'll be able to move into a phase where it's come and visit us, come and see us. And the webpage is really good on the town website, so I think it will attract a lot more people to that page. So thank you to Karen, thank you to Sue, and thank you to all the volunteers who have stepped up to help us.
Great. Maura, did you want to comment, or go ahead?
Sure. Thank you, Sue and Karen's, and everybody else that has stepped up. It's really well thought out. Very impressed by the organizational aspect of it. I think it's something that we need, really, to jumpstart everybody and get everybody passionately back into supporting our businesses. I know they're doing their best right now, but it really does bring it to the forefront. And I do agree that this is a great role for our EDC. Just curious, Nancy, Jim, it looks like, the net could be, $3,000 or less to us. Are there any future obligations over the funds that we typically have to consider? Knowing that, we are, being conservative. Is there anything else that we need to be aware of that may be on the radar for this line?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. I do know in the past that the EDC has supported Heritage Days, and obviously that is up in the air as well. So, personally, I'm okay with approving these funds to jumpstart our economy. And that's all, Mr. Chair,
Great.
I have right now.
Thank you, Maura. Sean?
Yeah, a few things, Tony. The timing for the EDC committee, what was it, just a few years ago when it was formed? Like, I think Sue had just touched on it. This is exactly what, it's in place for, and whoever saw anything like this coming. First question is, any neighbors to our north, south, or west doing anything like this? Do other towns even have EDC committees? And are we, once again, the leader on this, Sue, like we are on other things?
There are some surrounding towns that have these commissions, but we're not aware of this kind of initiative happening in other towns at the moment.
Great. No, it's once again, I think, like many things, recreation and everything else, we're a leader, and that would be great if we were in this as well. Just when Karen Canfield and I were talking, I think it was last night, couldn't help but think, like, our neighbors to the south, the town of Plymouth, has been trying to gear up for their 400-year celebration for a number of years, and, I feel so bad for them. They started years ago by doing a lot of stuff, so, if we could maybe look to see what they might be doing, if they're doing anything else, and maybe piggyback on that. And then...
Yeah, the Plymouth, the Plymouth 400, they are an amazing group, but they also are a huge tourist town, so they have a lot more in place.
Right.
But we are definitely taking some leads from their work.
And finally, just a comment. Find out what Starbucks is doing and copy what they're doing.
There's something in that copy.
I'm on it.
Whatever it is. I've never stepped foot in the place, but seriously, find out whatever they're doing for marketing and jump on board. We're all set. No, but seriously, my first thought is the restaurants, Sue, and I think, I know my wife and all of us are dying to go out to restaurants, so I mean, that's going to be, and that's where probably it will start. Let's, get back as quick as we can, and then everywhere from there, from the barber shops to the hairdressers and everything else. It just, good luck and thank you for everything you're doing. Really.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not going to repeat all the other great things that everyone said. The few things that came to my mind are what a great group of people that are pulling this together from all different facets of town, from town government to town business to kind of specialty organizations. You've got Sister City stuff there. You've got, both North Situate and the harbor, everyone really participating, and then merchants. And then just the proactiveness of it is just great. We all, five of us, everyone in this room preaches it all the time, and I'm sure we practice it too by shopping local and getting takeout food and all that stuff. But to be ahead of this, knowing that we already have a plan in place when the governor's about to announce, the easing of restrictions, is just really great. And it's, the people that put this together really were thinking ahead so that we know what we're going to be doing and moving forward. So great job to all of you for that. And, this isn't, the restaurants are being hit very hard, but it's every business in town. It's the banks, it's the hardware stores, it's the bead shop, it's the jewelry people, it's everybody. And I like the fact that this plan is so inclusive of everybody and events, and really bring it to everybody's attention that all of these people need our help. And and I'm hoping that this kind of marketing and informational plan will help them. So thank you, Sue, and thank you to everybody else on your committee.
Thank you. I think that the opportunity is huge for business people to get to know other business people, and all of these committees in town to get to know each other as well and work in sync. I think it's just a great opportunity. I know the circumstances are not great, but we can take advantage of this time and plan.
Great. I think Ms. Canfield has something else, and then I'll open up the Q&A.
I just want to make one final comment, is that to stress the fact that every portion of this proposed plan will be based on what the Board of Health says. So no event, any initiative is going to go forward unless it complies with the state mandated health provisions. So, out of the gate, it will be virtual events, that kind of stuff. And then as we are, we don't know when that'll happen, but as it merges, it can expand. And I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that was the founding, glue of the whole proposal.
Great, thank you. Michelle, can we open up the Q&A?
Q&A session has started.
Hi, everyone. We're looking for comments on the EDC plan that's before us. If you wanted to speak, please hit star 61 and give your name and address. Great. Well, Sue, thank you for presenting, and thank you for leading this group. I think we have a. Do we have to vote that, or no? Are we just kind of giving EDC the?
I think we're just giving EDC the go-ahead to do it. Yeah.
Great. So
Q&A session is over.
Thank you, Michelle. So if anyone has any objections to EDC using that money for this purpose, I'll give you the opportunity to speak now. Otherwise, I'll just assume that we're all in favor of it. And seeing the nods, we're all in favor of it. So, Sue, you have our blessing, move forward.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue.
Right, the next item that we're going to talk about this evening is a discussion and vote on out-of-network costs for the COVID-19 as it relates to ambulance billing. Jim, are you going to do this or Nancy?
Nancy's gonna do it.
Nancy?
Okay, so the good news is the town received some funds from the CARES Act Provider Relief Funds in the amount of $25,023.73. Because the town receives Medicare funds through its ambulance transportation services. The bad news is there are terms and conditions if we want to keep these funds. So that's what's before you tonight. If the Board of Selectmen wants to comply with the terms and conditions, there is a vote that needs to be taken, and then we would retain the $25,000, and those funds could be used for healthcare-related expenses used to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus, which I very narrowly interpret to be for PPE and other limited expenses for Situate Fire Department. Additionally, these funds can be used to make whole the provider, being the town, for lost revenue resulting from COVID-19 related services, which would be our ambulance transports. The terms and conditions that are concerning are that the town would not be allowed to balance bill on any ambulance run the difference between in-network and out-of-network costs. So we are an out-of-network provider, so we are always out-of-network. So if an insurer pays us their in-network rate, we must accept it, and we cannot balance bill. There are two things of this that are of concern. One, we cannot identify these runs definitively. The ambulance billing company Comstar bills based on diagnosis, not symptoms. So not that many people get transported because they've already been diagnosed with COVID-19. They get transported because they have symptoms of COVID-19 or presumptive COVID-19. So their runs are not coded as COVID-19 so that we can identify them to make sure we don't balance bill. What Comstar, who is our billing company, said of the 200 clients they had at the time I spoke to them a few weeks ago, they only had 3 runs out of all of those clients that were coded COVID-19. So that's one concern, our compliance with the terms and conditions. The other thing that was positive that I got from them shortly after the initial discussion I had with them about how we could identify these runs was now insurance companies were actually indicating on the payments to the town that this was a COVID-19 case. In that case, they were doing things such as waiving deductibles, waiving co-pays, and this would enable us to know that this was a COVID-19 run and we should not balance bill should the board take this vote. So the vote that the board would have to take is to not balance bill any COVID-19 run between the difference between in-network and out-of-network. I cannot quantify for the board what cost, the revenue that the town would lose by this, because we don't know. Comstar was unable to figure out any methodology by which they could do it. So for them, they have over 400 insurers with totally different rates as when it comes to in-network plans, and based on our rates specifically. So we don't know how much revenue would potentially be lost. And to me, the bigger concern was that we might accidentally balance bill someone, which we would definitely reverse if it was to be found. It isn't like there's a predominant number of runs for COVID-19, but that is a concern. The alternative would be to return the funds within the 30 days. We received these on April 21st and forego not taking a vote to balance bill and also forego these funds towards our PPE and our lost revenue. So that's what's before you tonight.
Sean?
To simplify it, Nancy, is it so we get a check for $25,000 with the strings attached? Basically, the first thing that jumps out is if it's COVID-19, you have to charge what is paid, and we accept it. COVID-19 only.
Right.
And you think, yeah, all right. Anything outside of Corona, it's bill. We get paid whatever.
Business
Whatever.
individual.
Okay. And it's hard, you said it, well, we're all thinking about it, can you balance that? Can you tell us what's your recommendation? But you really don't know. But you said a municipality that did it only had really handful or less?
Of the 200 municipalities that they service as a third-party biller, they only had 3 runs coded as COVID-19 because most people aren't diagnosed when they go. I think if we look back to the town administrator's report, that the number of cases we have in town, how many of those cases actually were transported to the hospital because they became so ill they had to be transported by ambulance. And I don't think it was the full 82, I think we're
92.
Can I just ask one other question before I forget? So, we still get paid something, 'cause if I have the coronavirus, know it, I go in the ambulance and I take the ride, and my insurance pays, you know, 800, you know, they're gonna pay 800, and normally it's 1,000, or whatever the case is. That is the case, correct? They'll pay something, just maybe
And there, we
less.
can still balance bill for deductible and copay. So if you have a $100 copay on your ambulance, we can still collect that. We just
Okay.
cannot collect the full amount of our transport cost or our fee. If there was an insurance, we can't collect more than the insurance and network.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we know that our rates are much higher than all the insurance companies because we balance bill on most of our ambulance runs.
I don't know if we balance bill on most of them, but we do balance bill on a significant number, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the nature of insurance is the insurance company pays you $700 and you're billing a higher number. So, you know, like Jim said, there's 92 cases. How many of them went to, used an ambulance? You know, if it's $1,000 a case, you know, you can do the math. But this is moving forward as well, right?
There is no date within the terms and conditions as to when this would expire. And there is something that we may get additional funds, but I don't know what the strings are going to be. So originally when we got these funds, I was like, and we'll be putting this back in the envelope and sending it in. Just because I can't quantify what you're giving up to keep the funds.
Right.
But it's that gray area of, is this something you would have wanted to do anyways?
Who are the funds coming from again?
Give me a second, I'll look up exactly where it came from.
Out of the CARES Act, Nance?
It's part of the CARES Act, and it came from the Health Resources and Services Administration Agency.
Do we know what our other neighboring communities are doing?
We haven't heard anything. My guess would be most of them are going to hold on to the funds. And if we don't do anything, we are deemed to have complied with that we are going to comply with the terms and conditions regardless.
Right. Ms. Canfield? We can't hear you.
Sorry, muted myself. So I would just clarification, if we are to move on the motion as recommended, are we putting our, and I just don't understand, are we putting our ambulance pool runs in 2 separate piles then? And this doesn't impact non-COVID patients?
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Doesn't that sort of mitigate sort of the unknown?
How so?
Well, if we know that that it's unlikely that we're going to have diagnosis, then the pool is small.
Right, but I think what Nancy's
And those
saying,
who are not in that pool are under our normal billing.
right, I think what she's saying is at the initial ambulance run, we don't know it's COVID, but we can figure it out later when claims start coming through. So we would then go back and back, or we could figure it out, you know.
Then we'd have to go back.
We'd have to.
We mandated to go back.
To be in compliance, yes. So if say the insurer didn't indicate and the patient came back to us and said, I was a COVID-19 case, here's my proof, we would have to refund those funds.
Okay, that's the piece I didn't understand. Thank you, Nancy.
Ms. Kern?
And then can I
Tony, can I ask just further clarification, because this is about as clear as mud to me. So authorize this and we go back and we identify that it was a COVID run. So that payment actually, that balance, whatever, comes out of this $25,000 COVID grant, right, if you will?
Well, what would happen is, if we didn't know, we would balance bill them, because we don't know. And what accounting would have to do is go back and not balance bill them, and figure out that it was a COVID case, and cancel that bill.
But-
The difference.
But Ms. Curran is correct. We can use these funds to make ourselves
Right.
whole for the lost revenue.
So it's really a math problem. You know, the money's coming from insurance companies. So they're, you know, they're asking us to take this amount of money to not balance bill people. Not people. Oh no, it would be people. It wouldn't be the insurance company. I'm sorry.
It's federal money.
Yeah, so this is federal money. This is not balance billing an individual, because insurance is gonna pay everything they're gonna be paying anyways. So that changes my opinion a little bit, because anyone that's gone through the COVID thing maybe doesn't need a balance bill.
It's almost like they're trying to level out they're flattening their curve. They don't want to, you know, the peaks and valleys. It's almost like they're, like you said, they're an insurance company and they're putting this money out there, so it'll almost, you know, level off what they have to pay out.
I think, Karen, I'll come to you in 1 second. I think if I understand it correctly, is it's really giving relief to the individual that got the disease, right?
And to the healthcare system, to try to make them understand that they know that there are additional costs because of the pandemic.
Say that, explain that again?
It's also to help the healthcare provider because there are additional costs. So there has been relief provided to some of the COVID-19 patients that haven't been provided to other patients of other diseases, such as waiving of deductibles, waiving of co-pays, and those things, so those people can get the kind of care they need.
Right.
So this is the federal government trying to make those providers whole in some aspect.
How are the providers though?
Well, we're providers in ambulance transport.
Oh, us whole, yes.
But
Yeah, so,
in order for us.
yeah, it's relief for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Conley?
Right? Yeah, I guess my question is, does this check for $25,000 just appeared one day?
Yes.
Who decided we got 25,000? Is it on a per capita basis? I mean, who determined the amount?
It's part of the CARES Act. It was based on the amount of Medicare funds we received in calendar year 2019.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Since we've only had, 92 cases, is it possible for the town just to call anyone who was a COVID case and just ask them, did you take an ambulance to the hospital?
I wouldn't do that. I mean, right now, I'm asking if the board wants to proceed with this, we would go from the date we received the funds, which is April 12th. We would notify Comstar, our third-party biller, and then they could look back through the claims to see if anyone's been billed that was a COVID-19 transport. I think there's HIPAA issues here that we wouldn't reach out to the patient.
Right.
And two, we shouldn't know. Unless it's absolutely necessary, that's why we would let the third-party biller deal with it. But should a patient come forward and say, why did you balance bill me? Then we could deal with it after the fact as well, because it would be inadvertently and not what the intent of the Board of Selectmen in the town was.
Right. So.
Okay, got it.
Any other remote comments? Ms. Carter?
You're muted.
Can't hear you.
I know, sorry, I apologize. I do have a question. How many runs do you think this allotment, if you will, Nancy, would cover? Or is that
It depends.
an unknown?
Just if you think, say there was a $250 delta on every run that we didn't get, and to Tony's thing, if you say 50% of the runs went by ambulance of what we have now, that's about a $9,000 or $90,000. I can't do math right now. 250? Yeah.
Yeah. So every 4 cases would be $1,000 and 40 of them, so $10,000.
So my sense would be that we might use this more for PPE rather than revenue lost. But Comstar has created a code so that it'll track all of the lost revenue, so we'll know, so that we can recapture it at the end of fiscal year and then go forward. It's so hard to know how many people are actually being transported because they don't know necessarily at the time that the issues that they're having are specific to COVID-19.
Right. And again, this is relief to the individual that had COVID-19. This isn't, you're not getting it from big business, you know, you're not saving them any money. It is the Situate resident that was so sick that they had to get in an ambulance, and we're just taking $250 from the government instead of billing them.
Yeah.
So I would lean towards accepting it. You know, if $250 is it, then, you know, we said it's $10,000 so far for the cases, so it would be a net positive. Even if it was twice that, it would be.
Right, and we're going from April 21st when we received the funds. So if you think the surge was around April 25th to April 26th, I'm not exactly sure how many actual runs we're going to incur a loss of revenue on.
No, I know, I was just curious.
Yeah. I'd be in favor of giving the citizen a break, personally. Any other questions from Sean? I don't see any there. Can I have a motion?
Move not to balance bill any patient for the difference between an insurer's in-network payment and the town's out-of-network rate for ambulance transport when it's related to a diagnosed, presumptive, or suspected case of COVID-19 effective as of April 21st, 2020.
Second.
Second by Ms. Canfield. Further discussion? We'll open it up to Q&A.
Q&A session has started.
If there's anyone on the line that would like to comment on the out-of-network cost for COVID-19 ambulance runs, hit star 61.
Nobody.
Okay, I don't see anybody. Jim, do you have any comments on this?
Nope.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, we'll do a roll call.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
That's unanimous, 5-0.
Q&A session is over.
Okay. We have a couple of new business items for a Hawker's Peddler's license renewal for Burt's Ice Cream. Can I have a motion for that?
Will the Board of Selectmen approve a Hawker's Peddler's license to Burt's Ice Cream for the 2020 season?
Second by
Second.
Ms. Canfield. Further discussion? Ms. Curran?
Mr. Vignani, I have further discussion. Do we need to enter in any kind of like memorandum of understanding of social distancing with some of these peddlers that come into town?
That's a good point.
Jim, I don't know what.
About it, actually, yeah,
Okay,
before I put it on the agenda.
go ahead.
I spoke to Drew about it before I put it on the agenda, and they are allowed to sell ice cream with social distancing, and they'll be getting their approvals from the Board of Health, and they'll give them the guidelines
Okay.
they're required to follow.
All right, that's good to know. I was just curious. All I do is envision, you know, a bunch of little kids all huddled up to get their ice cream. So,
Right.
we're mean grown-ups yelling at teenagers in Cape Cod, yes, ice cream places. Thanks, Lorraine.
Michelle, is there anyone on the line?
Want to do a Q&A?
Yeah.
Q&A session has started.
Are there any comments on the Hawker Peddler's license for Burt's Ice Cream? please hit star 61. Okay, we'll end Q&A.
Q&A session is over.
So I have a motion and I have a second, and we'll do a roll call vote.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
That's unanimous, 5-0. The next item is the seasonal liquor license renewal for Situate Beach Association.
Would you like a motion?
Can I have a motion, please?
Will the Board of Selectmen approve the renewal for an on-premise seasonal club, all alcohol beverage license to the Situate Beach Association?
Can I have a
At the bottom,
Second.
pending final fire inspection. I know it's hard.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. Pending final fire inspection.
Thanks, Sean.
Second.
Second by Ms. Curran. Further discussion? Ms.
Tony, Karen?
Yep, I see you.
They're subject to all the same rules and regulations as everyone else is in terms of what the governor says in terms of when clubs can open and everything, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And the only reason we're doing this now is because we have an ABCC deadline to get the renewal in. Otherwise, we
Yeah,
wouldn't.
that's right. I just want to be clear that no one thinks that they're getting special treatment.
No.
Right. And they've done this for several years now without complaint, so.
Right.
Great. Can I open up the Q&A?
We need a second. Oh.
I think Ms. Curran, Maura, did you second?
I seconded.
Yeah, Ms.
Yeah.
Curran.
Q&A session has started.
Are there any comments on the seasonal liquor license for the Situate Beach Association? If there are, please hit star 61. Hearing none, we'll close Q&A.
Q&A session is over.
And we'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
It's unanimous, 5-0.
And we have the indoor entertainment.
Is that
As well.
okay? And then can I have a motion for the indoor entertainment?
Will the Board of Selectmen approve the indoor entertainment license for the Situate Beach Association Monday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.? Pending final fire inspection.
Great. And a second
Second.
by Ms. Curran.
Second.
Is this the same as last year?
Yes.
Okay, so it's identical to last year. Any further discussion from the board? Can we start the Q&A?
We already did that?
This is for the entertainment.
Q&A session has started.
Are there any questions for the entertainment license for the Situate Beach Association? If there are, hit star 61. Okay, we'll end Q&A,
Q&A session is over.
and we'll have a vote, roll call vote.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
So that's unanimous, 5-0. The next topic is other business, and it's liaison reports. I know some of you have mentioned some remotely. If any of you have, Ms. Conley?
Yes, the CPC received notification, the town did, from the Department of Revenue that the matching funds from the state are probably going to be, for Situate, only 11% versus 37% that they had been originally projecting. I'm sure Nancy can explain it better, but I think their concerns are that the amount of activity at the registries, that they increased the fees last year, but the amount of activity may be down a lot. So this is sort of a notification. It really affects how the set-aside for the various buckets is allocated. We were allocating it based on the 37%. If it goes down to 11%, we could still allocate the same amount in terms of dollars, but we could reduce it so that we're only allocating the 10% of the reduced estimate. So the bad news is that all this bad news is starting to really hit bottom line, and it's hitting this one first. So where it seems to be.
Thank you. Nancy, do you want to comment?
The good news is that even with the lower estimate, none of the CPC recommended projects are affected. So it would just be, as Karen stated, whether or not to change the set aside so that less funds would be tied up in those specific reserves.
Right. So we still got 11% of our money, we just didn't get 33%.
Well, we don't know yet. It's very unusual that they give their estimate in May when in a normal year, most towns would have already had their own meetings. So I think they just kind of threw it out there because they're concerned with what's going on in the economy. But the original estimate from the Community Preservation Coalition when they raised the fees was 37%. So it'll be interesting to see where it lands when all is said and done.
Great. Any other, Karen, Ms. Conley?
No, that's it.
Ms. Canfield?
Just a couple of things. I just wanted to let the board know that the Council on Aging has scheduled their first meeting in quite a while on Thursday at 5 o'clock remotely to update everyone about the construction of the senior center and the programs. They have been working extremely hard remotely to service seniors during all of this, and so it'll be good to get them together and get an update on that. As well, the library trustees has decided to have a remote meeting. And the last thing is the EDC will be reaching out to all of the appropriate boards and committees that might be able to contribute to the Situate Loves Local campaign. So I would just alert you that on the committees that you are liaison to, if you have questions, want to know, what's going on or how we can support the committees if they want to jump in, just let me know or let Sue know, and we'll help backfill you on that stuff. But we know all of those committees are full of great ideas, and I think it's gonna blossom.
Great. Ms. Carr?
That's all.
Laura?
Nope, I don't have anything to add tonight, Tony.
Sean?
Just one other thing, at Waterways, it was mentioned, the pedestal project, which I didn't realize we were gonna get any reimbursement from, FEMA and MENA, about 25%, Nancy, Jim?
75%.
75%, what did that, and
$132,000. We've already signed a contract with MEMA. We expect the funds, if I was near Wood, I'd knock, by June 30th.
And I don't recall getting any type of matching funds in the beginning on that. Like, was that all along? Were we going to get some?
This was a very large special town meeting appropriation from Waterways retained earnings.
Right.
And at the time, it was discussed that it was a risk if FEMA didn't come forward with their 75%, that it was all going to come out of retained earnings.
Right, okay. All right. I remember the project, but I didn't recall it, the reimbursement, but it, so that was just mentioned, and I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. That's all, Tony.
Great. Just two quick comments. I was on a Zoom meeting, I think maybe even 2 weeks ago, for the Plymouth County Financial Advisors, and it's where they discussed the county taking over the disbursements of the federal money that was given, and all the communities were represented, or most of them were, and it was a good discussion about it. The advisors didn't have any impact on whether the commissioners chose to do it or not. It was their decision. They did choose to do it, and many of the towns just vocalized their concerns about maintaining records, keeping the cost to run it down, and to make everyone aware of the expenses that are reimbursable and not. So it was an interesting conversation. The other comment meeting that that I'm going to mention is we have a financial forecasting meeting this week. Nancy and I and Jim met today. Was it today or yesterday? And discussed just looking at our forecast based on the projections of state aid and some other expenses changing. So you may remember that the governor's budget had an increase of 8%, was it? Somewhere around there?
Very significant increase.
Yeah, a significant increase, which more than likely will not occur. So we're getting the town and the school and having some discussions to get aligned and having different projections as if state funding is level or if it's down 5%, 10%, 15%, and then looking at other line items that may be impacted by that as well. And this is for fiscal year 2020 budget. 2021, I'm sorry. I was thinking 21, but I said 2020. So 21 budget. So that'll be happening on Friday morning.
Friday, 8:30 in the morning.
Friday, 8:30 in the morning. And that's a Zoom meeting. Actually, some people are going to come. We're going to do it at the...
Meeting room at the library, and Seth's going to videotape it for us.
Yep, so we're going to videotape it. It'll be in the library, and some members are zooming in, and some members will be there social distancing. And that's all I have. Are there any correspondences?
No.
No correspondences? Approval of minutes? Can I have a motion?
Move to accept the meeting minutes of the Board of Selectmen meeting held on April 28th, 2020.
Second by Ms. Canfield. All in favor, we'll do a roll call vote.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
So that's unanimous. Any last comments from the remoting select people? Nothing?
No.
Sean?
Thank you. Good night.
Sean?
Have a great night. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep, Sean has 3 meetings left. We're gonna miss you, but I
Yikes.
did the math today. Hopefully there'll be some, a little more sanity on the next one.
Writing.
Yeah, we can write. Yeah, and the only thing I want to say is,
That would be so funny.
so thank you for participating. Everybody out there, have some patience, social distance, shop locally would be, I think, the 5 of us motto for all of you. So have a good evening.
We need to adjourn.
We're going to have a motion to adjourn and sign documents.
So moved.
Second by
Second.
Curran. All in favor? We'll do a roll call vote.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Canfield?
Yep.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
That's unanimous. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
I need a selectman to come in and sign in the morning.
Can one of you come in the morning and sign documents?
I'll come in.
Okay, thank you.